Everybody, and today I'm just going to be analyzing a bunch of different games. Some of them I lost, some of them I won, but at least I don't have to play them because that takes a lot of time. So I'm just going to go through these games relatively quickly. In this game I'm playing with the white pieces, playing as the accelerated dragon, and we just get everyone in a position. My opponent plays the move e6, which is not a good move because it leaves a lot of dark squares here. Now, obviously this idea is to play the move d5, but that is preventable, right? So we both castle, and I play the move f4, which is actually a bad move. f4 is not a good move, because it leaves this pawn on e4 a little bit vulnerable. Instead, f3 was much better. This is a move that I should have played. The reason I played f4 is I was very optimistic. I was like, I'm going to play e5, but he played bishop e7, I now play knight b5, and then he played the move d5. And I thought this just lost the pawn, and it does, but he just plays knight b4 and gets the pawn right back. I push the pawn forward, he moves the knight away, and the pawn on d6 is now a goner, and I have no advantage. I played the move bishop 3 and I resigned because I lost. That was a really bad idea. Obviously, my idea was to trade off the bishops because his bishop is much better than my bishop, but I just hung my bishop and I resigned. I shouldn't have resigned. Because maybe he didn't see it, but okay, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's look now at the next game. The next game, I played, so my opponent played the c3 Sicilian. He did not play d4. Sorry, he did not play e5. He ended up playing d3, which doesn't really make that much sense, but okay. I mean, he's defending the pawn, but he's very passive. I ended up giving away the bishop for the knight. This is not good because now my bishop is open, right? This is exactly what I want. He played knight e2, and then I just play a6, and he allows me to go b5, which is great. He goes a3, and I double my bishop. He moves his knight away, move my knight in the center. The idea is that my pawn chain is really the thing that I'm trying to work out here, and the knight here was really awkwardly placed. It's kind of blocking the bishop, supposed to blocking this ideas of maybe playing c5. And after this trade, my two bishops are kind of powerful, and I have all these ideas with the pawn place. Maybe this is an idea, maybe this is an idea, maybe this is an idea. He plays f3, which just doesn't do anything. I play rook c8, he plays d4, and I just move my bishop back, right? He plays d5, I play e6 to try and chip away the center. And it reaches a really boring position, really boring position, where nothing really is happening. But I'm actually completely winning. I don't know why I'm completely winning. Let's see. So I went for, oh yeah, of course, yeah. So I forgot that this move is possible, and then this rook is virtually trapped. But okay, I went for this check, and then I took, and then he went here, then I went bishop to 3, he blocked the knight, and then I played queen h4. I was like, this has to be winning, right? Because first of all, I'm threatening to go queen h6. That's the first thing. I'm just pressuring the rook, and I have a lot of pressure on these pawns. I have to be better, right? So he moves his bishop back, and I would play the move f5, trying to rip open his position. He moves his back, I ended up trading, I took back with the bishop, and I went here. He moved the queen here, I decided to take this, because nice tactic. I took for some reason, I took, and then I thought that it worked, but this is a check. But luckily enough, and I was very happy about this, when I took back, I was like, wait, this is check. But when I realized, but it's actually pretty good, because I have a lot of pressure here. He ended up moving the bishop away. You cannot actually sacrifice anything here because I just take the knight. Or actually, I have this move maybe, right? And there's no defense. He either has to give away the knight or he gets checkmated. So bishop e4 is what he played, and I just go d5. And now I knew it was over. He ended up going g3. I played queen e7, and then I just win a piece. So nothing really too spectacular happens here. He goes for check. I go for another check, and then here, very nice sequence, boom. He has a block with a rook here, but I'm not doing that, and then I just win his queen. So, pretty interesting game. The next game, I was playing against another guy. This game I lost, as you can probably tell. But yeah, I just play a very boring position, very boring English. I don't really have a repertoire. I mean, I play either the Sicilian or, c4, e5, or e4, c5, so this is both Sicilian, reverse and Sicilian. I can play the bird, but the bird is... I don't really like it. But yeah, I played rook e8, a3, a6, b4, bishop b7, rook b1, just standard stuff. My idea is to play the move b5. Like, I have to find a breakthrough in the position. So generally speaking, I think in these positions, you want to go for center pawn break. You want to go for this move. Probably that's a good move in this position. But, okay, now d5 just hangs his pawn. So I'm like, okay, he's not going to do much in the center. He might go here, but I'm very solid, right? So let's just go here, and let's go b5. Let's just go b5. And I'm not doing anything, I just take him, and then I play e3, and I'm like, okay, I open up my b file, now I'm going to play for d4, because that's really my only pawn break. So in close positions, pawn breaks are the most important things. He moved the knight to h7, I play queen c2, he played c6, and I played d4, right? We trade, he moves his bishop back, and I just win a pawn. So I don't know why he went for this. Probably he didn't want to give away his starter bishop, but now I win a pawn. So I also won the exchange. So I put my knight in the center of the board. He ended up trading, or actually he wins a pawn, but I do have rook b7. Sorry, rook b7. Yeah, I just hang a rook in one move. I actually didn't see it right now, which is incredible. But yeah, rook b7. I just hung a rook in one move. Obviously, here I should have played something else, literally anything else. Maybe in rook b3. Then I can move my rook here. I could have maybe won the rook here. There's a million moves in this position. Also, like, you know, this move. And then I can go here and take this pawn later. Like, this is completely winning. But I lost my rook pawn. Yeah, that's kind of one thing to learn is just don't blunder your rook in one move. Okay. Next game, I played an Accelerated Dragon. Now, actually, this is the wrong move order. No, this is the right move order. No, is it the right move? No, actually, I don't like g6 in this position. Actually, I think I'm going to move over to knight c6 first, and then playing g6. It's what happened in the game, actually. But I don't like g6, because he can actually play the move c3. And I don't like facing this move. Like, yeah, I mean, the engine says it's equal, but it's not pleasant. I don't like playing against c3, so let's just not analyze that. Let's just play knight f6 immediately, right? So that's what I've kind of said is to go for this move now instead of later. But okay, we get the same thing. We get a very standard accelerated dragon, but my opponent hasn't played c4 yet. My opponent played the move f4. I knew this was a mistake because these pawns are weak, but I didn't know how to punish it. And I ended up playing the wrong move. I had to play d5. And if you could push it forward, it's like, let's just go here. But this turns out not to be the right plan. Here I should have apparently, let's see, with the engine says probably just played like queen a5. I don't actually know what the best plan here is. Oh, I think maybe it's just d6. Because now I have ideas of going here, and his pawn is misplaced. And now if he goes for something like this, now I can go maybe queen a4, and I can... Nope. Maybe I can go here. No, I knew that wasn't the plan, though. Maybe just castling is right. And then... It's still interesting to me. If he goes here, now I go here. Okay, I guess this is also a reasonable move. Okay, well, d5 is the move I played, and I got this position. I got this endgame. And I knew that I was much worse, because this pawn structure for my opponent here looks very strong. And my king is in the center, that's the main point. So he goes for a check, I move my king away. He develops his bishop, I develop my bishop here, which is a little bit tricky. Now, he should have taken, but I think practically this is not that easy. I mean, it is easy. But his bishop is, I guess, on the opposite colors on these pawns. I guess he can go here and take the pawn, actually, I just realized that. But I have kind of a bind. And I'm just 2 moves away to kind of equalizing. So it's like, yeah, let's just go bishop a6. When my rook in the center, he went bishop b7. I blocked it with the bishop. He took an a7, and I played rook d7, seemingly winning the game. And I thought so during the game. I thought I was winning, but there's rook takes d5, which I obviously missed. But there's rook takes b7, but then there's this move, rook a5. So I'm still down in material. But yeah, I just play f6, he moves his bishop away, we trade. I play rook f8, and I was like, I'm completely losing. I have no plans, but he has to win. So he plays e6, and I'm almost getting mated, right? I move my bishop away, give me a check. Actually, here, you have to go here, because if you go here, I lose the bishop. So I have this ridiculous bishop h6 and rook a8, which somehow defends. And he went here, and suddenly I'm better. Not because of bishop b2, which is what I'm playing in the game. Let's think about this for a second. Probably just moving the rook on the second rank is pretty reasonable. But I went here, and I thought this was a pretty genius plan, because he can't take because of mate. And if he plays f3, I can go e3, and I thought that I was probably much better here. Because my pawn's so far fresh, right? He went here, I pushed my pawn, and then he took. And then I went here, and I was like, oh, he can just move his king. And I'm completely losing. I just completely missed this idea, because the bishop is guarding the defensive square. I have to make a queen, and this endgame is losing, obviously, because I am down 2 pawns. But I try anyway. So he gives away 1 pawn, so at least maybe a little bit of hope. And here I really want to try and trade, because if we trade, yeah, it's still losing for me, but there's some play here, because there's not many pieces on the board. So he goes rook e2, I goes rook e8, and he goes a5. So this is kind of a target. That's my sort of goal, is to make this a target. He's gonna play b4 to try and destroy, try to solidify the structure. But I just try to stop him from bringing his king, from bringing his pawns forward, and trying to create weaknesses. But it's really hard because there's not really much for me to do other than to sit and wait. I just move my king forward. He went here. I move my rook to b8 because what are you gonna do? Kind of stopping him from going here. He goes here, and I go rook e8. He moves his pawn forward, I go e6, he goes a7, I go rook e8, he defends the pawn, and I go rook d5. And I really wanted to trade here. I really wanted this trade. Actually, yeah, this is a draw, because my pawns are stopping him, and also this pawn is just gone. So he goes rook e6, I go rook b5, and then he goes rook f2. I don't want him to infiltrate. He goes for check, I go rook d5, and he ends up trading. Right, he ends up trading. And while my pawns are pretty strong here, this pawn is pretty annoying. Because even though I can go here and take, and that is the endgame, my king will be on a7, which is a very passive square. So what ends up happening is, I go here, and now taking this is completely losing, because he moves his king forward, and he moves his king forward, actually not that move, probably just here or something, and my pawn chain is completely ripped apart. Take, he can probably just take this, and then go here, take this, and he makes a queen. His king is just more active. So I ended up not taking, I played king b6, and he lost some time. So, yeah, surprisingly enough, he spent all of his time. I don't know how he ended up spending so much time. I guess his time management didn't go that well. And for some reason, he spent 40 seconds on this move, which is not even the right move. There's no way this is the right move. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's look at the next game. By the way, all these games were played like 3 days ago. So we just play in boring Sicilian defense, nothing really too special. This reminds me very much of the, what do you call it? Italian game. It's basically an Italian game. I mean, there's not really much of a difference. So he tries to go for some sort of flank attack with rook g8 and h6, which is really weird, and I haven't seen it before. But I know that in general, if you want to counter attack on the flank, you want to counter in the center, and I just get the entire center, right? But here I play the wrong move. Which of these pawn pushes did you go for? I play the wrong one. I play the wrong pawn push. Now, okay, how do you identify which one you should play? Well, you should look at your opponent's pieces. So if you look at this bishop, and you look at this knight, right? Playing the move e5 is terrible. This is the move I played in the game, because it literally just opens up his bishop, and also gives his knight some nice squares. But playing this move is much better, because then his bishop is locked in, and he doesn't have any plans at all. I literally just went here because I wanted to attack his knight. But in this position, I knew that I probably wasn't even better, because he has the bind on the light squares. I have nothing here. And he has ideas, I have no ideas. Like, this pawn is gone. This pawn is going to be captured. Now, what I thought here is I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to develop my pieces. But he's going to go here, I have to move my knight, and then he's going to take the pawn. How am I going to stop that? Well, I can't. I just play h3 trying to stop g4, but he plays g4 anyway. Right? We trade. And at least I'm not losing a pawn immediately, but I'm still much worse. Right? I ended up taking on h6. And now I think the end just has is equal. I mean, this is yeah. Apparently here you have to play something else. Yeah, but anyways, I took an h6. He plays knight c5. Attacking my bishop. I ended up pinning his knight. He castles, and I thought here. I have a feeling that I'm better because his king and queen are so weirdly placed, and his king is on the queen side, and I have literally so like I have this rook here, but I realized that I don't have any way to do anything about it, right? And we're playing 84. Probably I was looking to maybe consider to go here. Wait, what am I actually? Oh yeah, there's actually this, right? So here, for example, probably something like this would work, or something else. Yeah, probably this move would be pretty annoying. But okay, I play knight d4. Not the best move. He plays knight b4, which just tanks a rook in one move, and he takes on d4, and yeah, so he basically loses very quickly. But yeah, he just hangs the rook. Yeah, this move attacks the rook, and it doesn't defend it. So a really stupid victory. But I think the sort of main learning point is to play d5 in this position, sort of closing in all his pieces. And I was thinking maybe he was going to put his knight here, but that's not really the problem. The problem for him is this. So he can probably go here, but probably just taking is very strong. And even though this pawn could be considered weak, this square is also very weak, I guess. Okay, let's look at the next game. Okay, so we get a very boring opening as well. Just a very boring structural opening, and like this is one of the ideas, right? Just, just play bishop e7, d3, e6, bishop e2. Just play this way. You have the open diagonal for the bishop. It should develop very naturally. So I play bishop e7, I play knight f6, and I show castle. Like just a normal position. And he plays h3 very slow. I just play c5 and knight f6, knight c6. And I thought I have to be maybe slightly better because I have a bind on all the squares in the center. I mean, I have more control there because I have a lot of square on control of this square, a lot of control on this square, and it's hard for him to do anything. He just plays rook if he won. And here I don't think I play the right move. And I don't really know what the right move is, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, probably I should just have moved my queen up and then went here or something. But I'll play knight h5, attacking his bishop, and then he just went back. He went back as well. I couldn't really see anything. Like, he's basically offering me a draw, but I don't really care. I just play h6, and I'm like, do something. Like, h6 because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't improve or make my position worse. It just, like, show me what are you going to do. He ended up taking on h6. Giving away material. And I think I won a few moves later. Yeah, I just checkmated him, so that was a very boring game. But yeah, you shouldn't sacrifice your bishop on h6 if you have the option to. But I think in the end position I do have a slight advantage because it's hard for him to do anything, but also I have to play very accurately to actually have an advantage. But okay, next game. And this game was a Dutch defense, right? This is an opening that I've played recently, just for the past few weeks. And I just play the system where I just play g6 and knight f6 and bishop g7. And no one at my level knows any theory. They play stuff like this. But this is not a good way to play. And I think this is kind of an example game for that. Actually, I didn't play the right move here. I think maybe I should have moved my king away. But I played e5. And seemingly I'm winning a piece here, but he has a check, and then he can move his bishop back. So I'm actually winning a piece, but I am probably at least equal here. I ended up just playing c6. It's kind of a slow move, but the idea is to play b5. Like, simple as that. And then I'm going to play a5 and crush him. And that's exactly what happened. So I go here, a5, he goes a3, and here I go b4. Just opening up everything. He ended up taking, which makes no sense, because I just go bishop a6 and knight c5, and my pieces are all working together. He went queen c2, I took and I go queen e6, and I don't see a way for him to defend here. For example, if he moves his knight back, I just go here. This looks winning. Let's see what the answer says. Yeah, this is winning. Because I'm going to remove this card, and then I'm going to take this. Yeah. So I ended up taking on e5, but then I play knight e4 anyway, attacking the knight this way, right? So I'm still completely winning. And here, really funny, by the way, I'm threatening three things. I'm threatening to take this knight because it can't recapture because of the pin. I'm threatening to take on f2 as well. And I am probably threatening to go here as well because he has to take with a knight and then there's a pin, so I can do something with that. So he's completely losing, threatening everything. And eventually I win his queen, and then, he goes for some stupid counterplay. I just go rook d8, and he resigns. So, yeah. Another game. My opponent plays this way. I just develop my pieces very naturally, put two pawns in the center. My opponent tries to go for this way, right? Trying to go for a light square fortress, but it's hard for him to make much progress here. The only thing that really has is solidness. Like, it's hard for me to do anything. But I do get his archery bishop. I play queen f4, queen d8, and knight g5. And I'm just gonna destroy him. Like, I'm just gonna go. Yeah, and here I just mouse slip, actually. I was playing on mouse pad, and I just mouse slip queen. Yeah, I should have probably played something else, and I'm probably much better. I'm probably winning, actually. Yeah, probably just. No, actually, there's another move that wins the game. Let's think about this for a second. Does this move win? It's actually not even a bad move. Probably just this move. Yeah, that's also a move that I thought of, but this is just a mouse slip, and I just resign because he's going to take my knight. Okay, so a lot of these losses are like, oh, I mouse slipped and I lose. Okay, next game we get the exact same opening, actually, very similar variation, and I just won a pawn very early on, so nothing really that special. My opponent tries to go for some counterplay. He goes here, and I take the pawn. And I just lose my queen. So that was great. And I don't think there was really any other chances. I don't remember this game exactly. No, wait a second. Am I better here? No, I'm actually losing. But it's surprisingly hard. Yeah, look at this. He actually doesn't find the right move. And he loses the queen. I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here. So I just win the queen. And there's not really any other variation because this bishop is cutting off. So I thought here for a while. Thanks. So yeah, I thought here for a while trying to find the right move, and I won his queen. So in this game, I just blundered at the opening. Yeah, I just made a one-move blunder. Probably just pushing the pawn is much better here. Let's look at the next game. So I'm claiming a little bit. Again, playing the sim setup. d6. And my opponent plays d5, which is actually a very good move. But he cannot go here. So he doesn't have that many ways to support this pawn. So I just play c6. I take, and I play knight d7. It's just a position. But I know that I'm much worse. Probably taking is bad, but I don't really know what to do. I play knight b7. And I'm like, okay, let's go. I wanted to go here, but it doesn't really threaten anything. So I went here, and I was like, well, I have control over the square. That's all that I have. This pawn is very annoying. So he castled. I played knight c4. I was like, I'm pretty annoying because it's hard for him to get this bishop out. This pawn's kind of blocked. He ended up trading. I played rook b1. I played b6. He went for this move, and I just traded. Took with the queen. Obviously, taking this is a myth. But here, yeah, this looks really annoying. So I ended up taking. I took with the queen. And I realized I have to be much better. I play queen e8, queen f7, and queen f6. And from these idea there. I play queen e3, I play bishop b7, he goes bishop b2. I go queen f7. And here I just had to defend for my dear life. I'm completely losing because this bishop is a powerhouse. And I'm playing f3. Against this move, I don't even know what to do. I probably just had to move my knight back, but this is very passive. Now for this move, and then my opponent played rook d1. Again, this move probably just wins. Let's see what the end says. Yeah, +2. But he went here, and I was like, okay, I can't stop this move, by the way, or this move. I can't really do much about it. I just play a6, and f4, certifying my knight. My opponent plays e4, and I play b5. This bishop goes away, and I go h6, trying to support, something here. He goes e4, I take, he takes with the bishop, and I play king h7. Trying maybe to defend in some kind of way. He goes d6, I play queen f5, trying to trade. He actually allows me to trade. But here he doesn't find the right move, I think. Yeah, here he doesn't play the right move. He takes the... Okay, taking f4 is actually fine. Oh, he actually plays well the entire game. So, let's see, where... Apparently rook b8 is not a good move, which is weird. There's no way it's this move. This move is so weird. No? Okay, anyways, I want to go here, trying to defend. He goes g4, I move my bishop away. And like, okay. Actually, yeah, look at this. The opponent trades off into a drawish endgame, and I think this endgame actually losing already. Yeah, so I went for this move, but he has this move, and then this is losing. I think I probably lost this game. But remember, there's no time, so there could be... Yeah, look at that. He actually blunders. He actually moves his king here, and this is now losing because I win material, but I think actually I just don't have enough time, so actually I think I lost. I did lose, though, but that was definitely not deserved. I mean, this is just time travel, right? This is really low-level game. I just did some better here, which is weird. Yeah, but trading here is a blunder. But it's hard to find any other move. It's really hard, because if I go here, what am I gonna do? What's my plan here? What's White's plan is also a question, but... What if he just goes here? Maybe now I take? No, that doesn't... Maybe I just play here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, my idea, by the way, the reason why I thought this was the best move for White is because if you go here... Sorry, I have this move, right? If you move if you move the B pawn, then I have knight c3. But actually, this is very uncomfortable for White. Okay. Yeah, I think I just got destroyed in this game. Okay, next game. There's not many. There's a lot of games left, by the way. So again, we just play an opening. Nothing really that special. I win a piece. And yeah, my opponent resigns while it's this move. So not really that interesting. Okay, yeah, here, this is actually one of the best games, I think. So this is why I have stopped playing g6, okay? I think I will resort to playing knight c6, and then in this position, only playing g6 now. Because I don't really have a good answer against c3. If you look at the database, if you look at anything, they will recommend bishop g7, d4, take, and d5. They will just play this position. But this is so boring. So I don't want to play this stupid structure. I'm going to play the dragon. So what I ended up playing is e6, and I knew this, right? I knew that if you were playing, for example, anything else, I don't know what anything else would mean, but the point is, generally speaking, against c3, here you want to go e6 and d5. But okay, I played this position, and I realized I had to be losing. I had to be much worse, because I have no space, right? So I just developed my pieces very naturally. And then I'm taking, which I think is maybe a slight mistake. I'm posing a little bit of problems, trying my best, but here I just feel hopeless. Because if I go here, which is very natural, he has this move, and I didn't really see a good response. So I just played a6 and b5, trying to do something. But I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I don't want to castle. Because then he's going to maybe go here, maybe do something there. But he castled, now I castle. So now it's probably around equal, is my assumption. Actually, it's completely losing. Who would have thought? He played rook c1, yeah, because my bishop is just so bad. It's just so bad, and I have so many weaknesses everywhere. And actually, after this move, I just lose. Like, I have no move. Because if I go here, he can just take. And if I go here, he goes here. So I just lose a pawn. And I think this game, yeah. I mean, this was really just an opening mistake. He plays d7, and I resign. So I think the sort of main blunder here, man, I could have defended the game better. But this is just a bad position. You know, it's +1, I think. +1 for White. Yeah. So, yeah, e6 is just not a move. Sorry, g6 here is not a move. I should absolutely play knight c6 first. So that's what I learned from this game. it is still playable, but I think it's better to play the other way. Okay, next game. So in this game, pawn plays the accepted variation, and against this I just play queen a4 check, because why not? I mean, there's maybe some obscure, slightly better variation. I don't know about them, I don't really care about them. Let's just play this way, right? Let's just play chess. So I ended up getting the entire center, and yeah, just having a big center advantage. I play d5, queen e4, and he just blunders mate in one. So very simple game. For some reason it says I have made 2 blunders. So let's see where those 2 blunders are. So what? Yeah. Oh my god, this is actually, I realized this during the game, that he can just trap my knight, trap my queen. I realized this. Yeah, I realized this here. I think I realized this here. Knight e5 just traps my queen. My queen has no moves. But he misses it twice. And now I think the rest of the game should be pretty obvious. I just move my rook in the center, attacking, sort of pressuring his queen, and then I win. So here, for example, in g6, the structure is terrible here. I could probably just take, because if he takes with a pawn, I take this, and if he takes with the queen, well, maybe I can just go here, maybe g6, maybe taking this. But yeah, I'm at least better there, because he has so many kingside weaknesses. Okay, the next game I was playing against Gogo Iabhinav. Okay, so my opponent plays the McDonald attack, not really that good because I play d5. And these pawns are just very badly placed. That's actually why you play this move first, to stop me from going here, right? So, this is what happened in the game. I went for this move, which is weird. It's called the Brinsey Gambit. And here it's important, I think, to play the right move, because it's very natural to just go here, but I don't want to double my pawns. I don't want him to go here, so I'm like, okay, let's just go on 87. He goes bishop c4, and again, there's no reason to take, because if you take, this pawn is pretty weak, right? I don't want to do that. So like, I ended up just playing e6. He plays d4, and I took his knight, because I'm up a pawn, right? So he takes with the pawn, and I trade queens, and I am up a pawn. So I have to be better, right? I play a6, and b5, and just bishop b7, defending my pawn. That's really the entire point, by the way. If he had played here, I would have went here and bishop b7 anyway, right? This pawn's pretty hard to actually get. You can probably do it, but I still have ideas to put this knight in the center, which is actually what happened in the game. So here and here, and he ended up taking. And now I am up a pawn. Just up a clean pawn. I go d4, take, and then he blunders, though I think his position was bad anyway. It was a bishop here, and I go e3, and he resigns because there's a fork. Okay, next game. So this was a draw, as you can probably tell. So, as black, I don't really care what to play. I ended up playing the slot defense, right? So, he plays a4, which is a typical move that you usually play once I have already played b5. Because then you're kind of doing something, but a4 now is just a weakening move. It doesn't do anything. Because now I'm not going to take. I'm not going to take ever now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play e6 and bishop b4. And this bishop, you can't get rid of it, right? I'm kind of known to these type of structures where the bishop on b4 is just really annoying for him. I just take with the c pawn. I don't really know what the theoretically best move is. Let's just take with the c pawn. That's really bad. And then eventually I play e5. This is literally the only idea in this opening, to play e5. And because my bishop is strong, because my knights are well placed, and because if take, I am threatening something. If this bishop was here, I probably, if I was still good, but because this comes with a threat, this is a really good idea, right? So he ended up taking, I took with the rook, and he plays knight a2, trying to get rid of my bishop. Now, I was thinking here, if I move my bishop back, he can go here and here, and he's doing something. And I don't really have much of a pawn play, because this bishop is blocking everything. So I ended up taking, and playing knight e4, which is actually a blunder. Here, let's see, yeah, the position is equal, but I went here, which is actually a losing blunder because the bishop takes, and I thought here that I could take with the pawn, but obviously my queen's hanging, so I took with the rook. I mean, this is a blitz game. I played this move. Wow, I played this move virtually instantly. I don't think there was any bonus time in this game. No, there was no bonus time. But here I was like, I have to take with the rook. But this position is just suffering because this pawn is gone. If my rook was here, I would be fine. But still he has ideas to go here, and my rook has to go there. But my rook's here, which is a very bad score for my rook. So he just plays very naturally, and plays e4. I play queen g5. He takes on e5, I take on d2, he takes with the rook, and I go rook d8. And I thought this position is equal, because if he takes my bishop, I take his rook. If he pushes his pawn forward, which is what happened in the game I just placed, it's like, he cannot do anything, and this pawn is very weak. And the point is that I'm just stopping it from going here. But for rook d8 actually has a winning move, which both of us missed. And I want you guys maybe to try and find it. I mean, it's probably not that difficult to see. But yeah, I think if I have the right, yeah, f4 is the right move. f4 is the winning move. Because I have to move my rook away, and then maybe he can go here, g4. And then my rook or my bishop are trapped, like everything's destroyed here. But he plays d6, and he plays f4, I go rook c5, and I actually managed to defend it. He goes rook e1, just hanging the pawn, and d7 seems like he's winning, but there's king f8, which I did see a few moves beforehand. Here's 3 b5, trying to just sort of still it at that position, and I'm like, okay, I have a 3-on-2 right here, 3-on-2. This pawn's basically gone, so I have to be better. Maybe there's some defensive research, but I don't think he's going to find it. Attacking his rook, is moved away, take. Okay, now the game has to be a draw, because he wins one of my pawns. I don't think really there was anything else to do. Like, this was forced, and here I can't save my pawn, I have to go here. But I try to do something anyway, right? But then it turns out I'm not doing anything anyway. But here I'm actually losing, because on knight d6, so suddenly I'm losing. Actually here, this move, taking this, is apparently losing blunder. Maybe even just taking the knight, yeah, this is just because generally speaking, in rook endgames, if you're up a pawn, and the pawns are not like crazily far advanced, the game should usually be a draw, because you will always create threats against these pawns, against the opponent's king, and in this case, the opponent's king can't really do anything. So I ended up going here, knight c6, my bishop is hanging, and he's threatening mate. And if I go here, he can go here, and pin me, and I lose. So I'm completely losing, and also I cannot move my rook back to defend that bishop. So I don't really have much to do. I go rook b1, and I realize I'm losing. But then he goes here, rook f1, and then he moves his king to the wrong square. He goes king g3. I should have went here, because now he's threatening mate, and he's threatening to take my bishop. But he goes here. You might think he's winning, but now I can go here. And if his king was here, he could have taken my rook, but he can't do that now. So his king had to be on g2. So he moves the king to the wrong square. Now I try to play for the win, but it's really hard. Here, I just don't want his pawns to go forward, so I just go here. I'm just came back, and I go here. I'm like, okay, let's try and do something. But nothing happens, and I think I'm just going to skip some of this. The game ended in a draw. So, yeah, eventually the game ended in a draw there. But I think really the most sort of instructive, I guess, value of this game is I played very well. Engine still thinks that white is better the entire game, but just don't play knight e4 here. It's kind of the main point. Maybe it's actually pretty difficult to find a move, because if you go here again, the bishop is trapped, and I don't really want to go here. Probably it's necessary. I'm also thinking of going here, and then here and here. But the engine says this is not working. For some reason, probably he can just move one, or maybe the knight here, and then here, and then here, and then here, but not sorry, here. I don't really hate this position, though. Okay, let's look at the next game. There's not many games left. There's like 5 games left. So this game, opponent is, again, I'm playing the Dutch defense. I'm pretty new to this opening. There are other setups. I think other setups are better. Especially against this. I think here you should play d6 and bishop b4, and e5, like, just play this way. But okay, that's not what happened. And I just play this setup all the time. I just go here, 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 and yeah, you get the point. So I just play this sort of like setup like this. Castle, queen e8, and I push the pawn. Just play this, right? And I realized that a lot of the time my opponent plays a very weird setup. Like my bishop, for example, in another game where my opponent put the bishop here. But obviously, as I learned from that game, you shouldn't allow this check. So probably I should just play c6 and play a little bit slower. But what ended up happening is when for the trade he went rook c1. I just went bishop d7. My idea was to go here. So he went a3. And I just go a5, obviously. Knight d5. And here I realized I was maybe in a little bit of trouble. Because he's threatening a fork. And I don't really want to take. Because then his pawn's going to be really annoying. And this is going to be pressure forever. Probably this is still playable if I can go here. But again, there's maybe take, and I don't know. But okay. Rook c8. Knight f6, bishop f6, bishop f6, rook f6. And you play queen d5 check. And I was completely fine with the queen trade because the position is very balanced. So, I don't really have anything against that. But it took him b7. I play bishop c6. He moved his queen away. Took an f3. He took back. I take. We have this endgame where I'm down a pawn. And, I'm down a pawn, but he has a weak king. And here, after a little bit more analysis, after like 2 more seconds of thinking, I should have found the right plan. Is just go here and take this pawn. I mean, this is a plan you guys would play, right? But I ended up playing a plan that I'm actually pretty proud of, because the obvious plan is to go for this. But I wanted to be a little bit sneaky. I didn't want to play the obvious plan. So I went here. Move my rook away from the active spot. But the point is to go here and here. I'm going away after this pawn now. But this is not the right plan, obviously, because he has double pawns. This pawn is defendable. So what ends up happening, I stuck up all my guns into that pawn. But then he goes c5, which is very annoying. I don't really want to open my king, but I do want a pawn. But then he wins it back. And here I play a very nice move, queen e7. Kind of defending these pawns, but also I'm threatening to take this. He ended up taking. I took back with the pawn. Probably I also could have taken, but I thought this was very risky. Like, extremely risky. Because I thought he could probably move his queen back. Give it check and then take. Trying to meet this with just moving his king. Actually, he can just move his queen here, and I'm losing. So I just took back. Run for check and move my king here. And I'm very happy that there's really no tactics, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what the engine says. Okay, the engine says white is winning. But then he plays queen d5. And obviously I take on e3. So, position is still in the balance, but I feel like I have maybe a little bit something. But then he takes on d6 and I just trade and I make it. Because there's not really anything for me to win for here. I mean, I mean, even if I win this pawn, the game's completely a draw. I mean, I have no winning chances, even against a 1600. Because there's queens on the board. And if I trade queens, I'm losing. So there's a big risk in that. There's no reason to play for a win here. Like, I don't think anyone would win here with black. It's just not possible. So, yeah, let's look at the next game. So, yeah, here again I was playing the Dutch defense. Same exact setup, and same exact thing, but here I play something different. Because I think I remember after analysis that you should play 94 in some of these positions. So I was like, okay, let's try 94, which is a different type of move. By the way, this is the way you learn openings like this. Just trying new ideas, trying to see what works. Now, obviously, at this level, nobody knows what the right ideas are, but you have your principles, trying to see what you think is comfortable. So I go h6, king, bishop away, and I'm like, okay, if he ever goes here, I'm always going to go here, always, right? I go h7, very natural move. I want to play for either of these pawn breaks. He plays queen c2, and I feel a little bit scared. My whole idea of this entire opening is to go here. Obviously, I do not want to give away a pawn. I feel this is really annoying. So what my plan is knight f6, c6, d5. Very safe plan, not risking anything. But this is not the right plan. I don't know what the right plan is. Probably this is the best move. It's not the best move. Maybe I should have went... Sorry, that's not the right move. Maybe I should have went e5. I thought of this move, but I didn't like it because take, he just moves his bishop back. I thought, I can't be better. I have to be worse. Because I have double pawns. But some of the instances is better for me. Somehow. Which is ridiculous. That's actually weird. So here I go here. Kind of blocking everything. Maybe I want to go here. But he does have this move, which is a little bit uncomfortable. Apparently, I can probably just move my queen away. And my pawns are surprisingly dominant. And I can probably just castle, develop my bishop, and then equalize his rook. And then maybe go for a check at some point. And he has troubles developing this knight. If he goes here, future prospects equals no. And this pawn break is a very risky one because his king has only one safe shelter, and that's on this side of the board. I'm playing this move. Literally, I don't really want to say it, but it kind of hurts you, you know? Hurting yourself. So I just play c6, probably maybe e6 was better. It is not better, okay? Okay, so I went for this plan, and I was like, okay, let's just play this pawn structure. Went for check, which I thought was not the right move. And it's not the right move. And what ended up happening is we just got this position. I thought I have to be worse because out of these other pawns, this pawn is just bad. And I don't really have much of a plan. But I do have these two pawns, right? So I play b6 and queen g4, which is not a good move tactically because he just takes and takes. And it's check. I missed that it was check. And now I'm down 2 pawns. I'm down 1 pawn. But I'm completely losing. But look at this. He does not play this right. He went for rook c1, I went for rook c8. And then he blunders. I take, and then I take here. Actually, here I think he has to move the king here. Because of this ensuing tactic. After king h2, I take. He moves his rook away. And I have this move. Winning the knight. And he resigns. So, again, chess is all about tactics, I would say. But yeah, that was that game. So next one. So this game, my opponent plays a very passive way. I just get the entire center, and I just defend my center, and I play the move e5. My idea was, I'm going to open up the center. His king's in the center. The problem is, though, knight h5. I take, he takes, I take, he takes. What am I going to do here? He has kind of a hedgehog structure, which is very solid. I don't have any way to break through here. Let's see what the end does, actually. Look at that. It's not even much better for me. I completely didn't think about that. I thought I have to be winning. So, I played the move, very natural move, b4. Which, you guys know the idea of this move, right? The idea is to go c5, or even here, and I just have a massive, like 2 on basically 4. Right, like, I'm just gonna make and push a pawn, and play c5. But this is not the right plan. Now here I'm taking this way, which is apparently not the best move. He should have taken this way. And even though this looks really bad, he just plays queen c7. Try and come up with a candidate move here for white. It's actually very hard, because there's pressure on this knight a little bit. I do have the open file, but there's no entry points. The rook cannot go anywhere here. He's threatening to take. And I don't have... Like, this pawn structure is negative solid. It's not solid at all. So what I should have done, probably, even in this position, is to not take, for some reason. Maybe I can play b4 here. I don't know. So this is what happened in the game. I ended up taking this way, which is not best, because here I have this banging pawn structure. I go b5, ab, knight f5, and c6. And I'm completely winning. Because my pawns are solid. They don't play this perfectly, because after knight d4, I take, and play knight d2. And here, I kind of realized that I'm probably not that much better, because these pawns are not going anywhere, because these pieces are all blocking. So I play rook e1, trying to get rid of one of his defensive pieces. But now it turns out black is the one who's better. Remember, this is kind of a trade-off, because I have these pawns, but he also has some play. So actually, the best move here for him to trade, and then maybe to go here. And then basically say you have the big center pawns. But I can just go here and draw actually. He wants rook b8, and the best one here I think is actually to sacrifice, which I was considering, but I didn't think this was that much winning. Like, yeah, I can go here, but like, this is really winning. Oh, actually, I can just go like here and here, and this is just, it's probably better than I thought. It is better than I thought, because the engine is always right. It goes queen c7, and here, I came up with a very simple plan. I want to get rid of this bishop, and once this bishop is, like things, right? He is not moving these pawns. Like, for some reason, you know? So because he's not moving these pawns, I'm going to do something with my pawns. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to take his bishop, and then I'm going to infiltrate with the rooks on the a file. And that is exactly what happens, eventually. I take his bishop, and then I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here. I literally do exactly what I thought that I was going to do. Now, obviously, he should have pushed these pawns. He should have went here, and here, and he should have pushed, That's the only defensive idea. But he didn't do anything about it. I just went here, attacking the pawn. Then I went here, and here, and here, and then I went here, and here, right? Just doubling up. And here I'm winning. And here I had a mental dilemma with myself, because everyone has a bad habit of sort of rushing things. But I was like, is this really a rush? Doesn't this move just improve my position? I just went here. But this is a terrible move. My opponent has no threats. I should just go queen c2. Okay, queen c2 is also not the right move, apparently. For some reason. But the point is, I should have prepared this. But I went here, and here, but he just moves his bishop back. And now I realize that I'm probably not that much better, because this pawn's gone, this pawn's probably also gone. And his pieces are now doing something. I go rook a6, he takes, I take with the pawn, he takes, and I blunder. I go a7, I'm like, oh, I make a queen, but I lose a queen. So he is just up 2 pawns now. But remember, there's no time. Apparently here I have a move to equalize. What? Okay, whatever. So I just played this position. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty solid. He's gonna go here, I'm gonna resign, but we'll see if he's gonna find that idea. Yeah, he just goes here and here, and then and here he could obviously just win the game in many different ways. But okay, yeah, I just blind my rook, and then you go here. There's mate in 1. He didn't see it. Move my queen back, defending. And eventually I just played back and forth because I had no time. And then he blundered. Or actually he lost some time. So this is again time scrambles, but it's really hard to win. It's not actually that hard to win. He just goes here and here, and I resign. Really hard to defend as well, but look at my moves. I just move my queen back and forth. But yeah, nice game. So then next game. So this is this is one of the variations of this opening. And eventually he punched his corpse. That was that game. One more game. 2 more games, actually. So here again, I have the light square kind of control. And here, I have to be better. I play queen c3. I think this is a nice move. Thinking here for a little bit. I was thinking of also going here, trying to control in this file, but I was like, let's go queen c3. Queen's controlling the diagonal. Very sophisticated move. Everything's defended, right? I have control. This pawn's weak. This bishop isn't doing nothing. And I'm taking because I have an idea. Here, I sacrifice the queen. Obviously. I mean, it's a pretty obvious move, but bishop d5, rook e8, and I'm winning this endgame. Then I double up the rooks on the 7th rank. He goes rook f6, I put my pawn, and he goes here. And I mean, literally my only blunder in the entire game. Here I blunder the game. I'm winning. It's only worse. Because here, I completely missed this move. And here, I was thinking for a while, because there are some moves here that just are boring and equalize immediately. Probably just f4. Ones are weak. And I didn't think I was worse here. I thought I had to be winning. I could win rook d2. Sorry, I would rook c8. And here, he took, and I went here. I'm threatening mate. How is he gonna stop me? Like going g6, which is what I missed. I missed g6. So take, and he's only here. I went for a check, I went for another check, and then I resign. Simply nothing really you can do about that. Just the one where obviously here I should just trade it and bring king forward. And against this I can just take, and then probably just go here, and I'm winning a pawn. I have, yeah, I'm winning 2 pawns. 2 pawns are usually enough to win working games. Now we have the last game. So again, really the exact same opening, but in that game, we're playing 87. So this is the thing about playing the same openings is that people usually play the same things. I play c6, and I play e4, very natural move. And now this is just a bind. So just a standard bind. So yeah, you can test my pawn, I defend it. 1h4, kind of annoying, but I do have bishop 185. This is kind of the way to play these bind positions, is to put the knight on e5. Yeah, it's a target, but I'm never going to take, because then this pawn structure is not. I don't have any pawn breaks, I don't have any pawn pushes. And this knight's really hard to get rid of. And I played rook f1, kind of a pre-move, and then I resigned because I wanted my queen. Simple as that. Now here, this move's very natural, but it doesn't work because knight h6, so here probably I should just move my queen to e2, move my queen to d2 or e2, or maybe in c2, every single one of them reasonable. What I should have done here is just move my rook in the center, maybe move my bishop back and play f4, that's an idea. Maybe played c5, maybe played for b4, maybe played for g4, but okay. I think that was all of the games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Bye.